Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to EHEF Indonesia 2020 Goes Online. This is Institution Webinar Series. My name is Lukman, and I'm going to be your moderator for this webinar. This webinar will be presented by King's College London. Please stay tuned until the end of the webinar because we will hold a Q&A session. If you have any questions about the presentation or anything related to the country's higher education, you can submit your question in the YouTube's comment section anytime throughout the presentation. And now, please welcome the representative from King's College London. The time is yours.
Hello and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Francine Dawson and I'm from King's College London. This presentation is going to take about 20 to 30 minutes. And at the end of the presentation, there'll be time to actually ask questions and hopefully we'll be able to answer all of your questions. So my name is Francine Dawson and I'm the Senior International Officer based in Malaysia. And my role is to provide guidance and assistance to those who are applying to King's. Right, so just to start off, a little bit of statistics about King's. Across our campuses, we have about 33,000 students. So these are students that have come from the UK as well as all over the world, and we have about 185 countries represented at King's. And there are about 16,000 international students at King's as well. And from Indonesia, we have slightly under 100 students. This is the statistics that we have up to 2019. So from 2020 onwards, you will definitely have a lot more students from Indonesia, right? So King's is a considered quite an old university. It's been around for a very long time, almost 200 years. We were established in 1829 and we're the fourth oldest university in England and also one of the first to accept women, people of all classes and religion. And we have a very impressive lineup of alumni that come from across the world. We have 12 Nobel Prize winners as well. Other people who have studied at King's happen to be very famous politicians as well as scientists. So King's is a Russell Group university and has been involved in a lot of world-leading research and also groundbreaking discoveries such as the structure of the DNA, which was actually first photographed at one of King's campuses. So just to give you an idea of where King's is located, this is an aerial view of King's College London. So this is right in the center of London. And we have about 5 campuses and 9 faculties. That makes us one of the largest multi-faculty universities in England. If you look at that picture, all of King's campuses are in the red boxes. So box 1 and 2 is our Strand campus, and that's made up of the Strand building, as well as our business school, which is Bush House. So this is where we teach all the arts and humanities, social sciences, as well as business school subjects. And then if you look at number 10, which is just across the river, Waterloo campus, this is where we teach engineering, computer science, subjects related to pharmacy and also law. And then if you were to look down a little, that is St. Thomas campus. This is where we do all of our teaching for medicine as well as dentistry. And then further up, number 16 is Guy's campus. This is where the life sciences faculty as well as the faculties for medicine, biosciences, and psychology. So right in the heart of London, we have been privileged enough to receive many prominent visitors from across the world, as well as the UK, including people like the royal family, like Hillary Clinton, as well as other industry experts like the governor of the Bank of England. And when prominent visitors come to King's, they often address all of our students as well, and students are invited to meet them. And some of the industry experts usually hold like master classes to address all of our students, and every student is invited to attend and meet with these dignitaries. We also have partnerships with world-renowned institutions like the Royal Air Force as well as the European Space Agency, We work with a lot of other bodies and organizations like the British Museum, the Royal Shakespeare Globe, as well as the Film Institute. We're also linked to a lot of professional bodies and institutions, such as the London Centre of Nanotechnology, the Royal Courts of Justice, the British Heart Foundation, and the Royal Academy of Engineering. There are over 400,000 students in London alone, so you can say that it is a student city. And being right in the heart of London, there's usually a lot going on. So despite the pandemic and the current lockdown, there are still activity that's going on in central London. There are markets and festivals and other music activities that are still open for students as well as the public to enjoy. And so even at university, there are a lot of activities that goes on. So even though during the current pandemic and lockdown, our university is still open, our King's College London Student Union is also open for you to participate in. We have over 300 student societies and groups, as well as clubs and cultural societies as well. And these are all open, and there are many events that are taking place virtually, so online as well as face to face. We also have about 6 campus venues that are open for students to use. So any student who wants to use all the facilities that we have for social or even formal activities, it's open to our students. And you can join any club that you want. You don't necessarily have to have any experience, for example, like a sporting club. You can join the archery club, even though you've never had any experience in archery. And you can join the many other societies that we have. I've just listed down here some of the very popular ones, like the Indonesia Society, even the Korean Society, and also our e-gaming and e-sports society, which is really, really popular these days. So moving on, I'm sure at this point you might have some idea of what you want to study at King's. I've grouped all the subjects into different subject groups. So just to give you an idea of the various programs that we have, um, most of these programs are quite popular and also very competitive to apply to, but King's, is a very high-ranking university, and therefore there are entry requirements that you need to meet. So whatever the courses that you are interested in, please do check our website for the course listing and look at the entry requirements and the details of each course. Beyond the courses that you can study at King's, we also have a modern language society that offers close to 30 different languages. So these are foreign languages that you can study on your own time alongside your degree. And we have got programs that start at very basic level and goes right up to expert level. And we have got different workshops and events to help you practice that language as well. So this is something I would say is an opportunity for students to participate in if you have the time and if you're really motivated to study a second or third language. There's something else that's unique about King's is that the Associateship of King's College London, this is an award that we offer to all students. So it's open to every student to also take alongside your degree. And it is something that explores theological, ethical, and also philosophical sections of religion as well as culture. So if you're interested in something similar, it's something good for you to participate in. And the associateship gives you a connection as well as networking with King's almost for a lifetime. So if you happen to be at King's, I would encourage you to take up the Associateship of King's College London because it's an original and unique award that's only offered by King's College London. So being a Russell Group University, the core of everything we do leads back to research. So at least 95% of your academics are researchers at King's. So they offer a very unique opportunity for everyone to participate in many research programs that we have at King's. There are also summer research projects that you can participate in, and you are allowed to do your own independent study and research, obviously, that's linked to your course, that linked to your master's program or any program that you are taking at King's. So at King's, we have different types of teaching styles that we offer to students, and it also depends on the courses that you will be studying. So depending on what the program is, there will be different teaching styles delivered. So they range from lectures to seminars and even conferences. And so even with the COVID-19 situation and the impact of the pandemic, we are running programs online and virtually to help students. So those who are not able to travel out of their home countries, you can actually study most of our courses online currently. And certain courses, there are limitations, of course, because if your program involves lab work or research that needs to be done on campus, then you will definitely have to come to King's and be on campus for your program. But the type of programs or the type of lectures that we hold will not change, whether it's delivered in person or virtually. And so on top of this, every student will also get a personal tutor. This is someone who will be your go-to person who will help you academically as well as personally to adapt to student life, as well as to adapt to all the programs that you will be studying at university. And obviously, being either an undergraduate student or even a master's student, there will be a lot of independent study, and we have got all of our facilities for that. Our libraries are open 24/7, so even during the pandemic, you are able to access our libraries as well as our resource centers to help you with your program. Like I said earlier, there will be a personal tutor. So there will be one personal tutor to about 15 or 20 students, and this person will be approachable to you at any time. So they will be available online, or if you happen to be in London, they will be available in person as well. So at King's, other than the programs that you will be studying, we'd like to also involve a little bit of practical elements to the work. For programs that are going to be running on campus, you will definitely have to get, or you will be able to get some experience working with certain experts as well in your program. So for example, like our bioscience students work with the London Metropolitan Police in their forensic science and also computer science programs. We're only one of the 5 universities that actually use real human bodies for dissection. So if you're a medicine student or um, a dentistry student, you will have access to using real human bodies like cadavers in your program as well. And we also have one of the largest brain scanning facilities at our Institute of Psychology, Psychiatry, and Neuroscience, which is the largest institute in Europe at this point of time. And at King's, we also have a rooftop observatory and telescope. So it's something unique that you will find in a London university and can only be found at King's. So another interesting thing about King's is that we offer a study abroad program. So it is open to certain programs where you can actually do a semester or one whole year at one of our partner universities. So what you see on your screen right now are the 300 over partner universities that we have worldwide, and you'll have to look at your subject or the course that you're applying for to see which partner university is on the course where you can possibly do a study abroad program. And it really helps students who are looking for global exposure to get a different experience, so not just in the UK but also elsewhere in the world. So you can get European experience as well as maybe American experience. And if you want to travel to Asia or maybe Australia, we do have partners in those parts of the world as well. So an important part here about scholarship and funding. One thing to remember about King's is that all of our tuition fees vary by course. So you'll have to check our course listing to find out what the tuition fees are. And then for the living expenses, because King's is located in central London, it's £1,265 per month. So it will depend on how many months or how many years you're in London. And then you just times that by the duration to give you an estimate of the budget you will need for living expenses. Currently, all of our international scholarships are under review. These are general scholarships for international students. We are expecting the scholarships to be announced in between February to April next year. So do check our website and find out how you can apply. The number one criteria is that at the point of application, application for the scholarships, you must hold an offer to study at King's. So it can be a conditional offer or even an unconditional offer. So it's something for you to find out later on, but we do offer scholarships for international students. Another thing that is quite important at King's is careers and employability. So we try to focus on grooming and building your career while you're at university. And we want to make sure that students have all the opportunity to network with potential employers. So we run at least about 80 career fairs throughout the year, and also some networking opportunities with industry players. We have our own global internship program where we work with certain companies to place our graduates. We also have a careers hub where students can go and do a little workshop on how to be more entrepreneurial. And we have our own King's Entrepreneurship Institute, which actually gives funding to students so you can pitch your business ideas and get some funding for your own startups. So we want to make sure that students, especially all of our King's graduates, are supported in their careers and also help to shape and build their careers after they graduate. So King's is considered one of the top 20 universities in the UK that has got really well balanced graduates, and at least 93% of our graduates manage to get further study or even employment in the UK or elsewhere in the world after they finish at King's. And King's is currently the fourth most employable university. So our graduates are managed to get jobs quite easily after or even before they graduate. And we have this very unique scheme for all of our graduates and alumni. It's called Careers Connect, where we will make sure that you are supported in terms of finding your job and also trying to get some job matching opportunities for you after you finish or graduate at King's. A little bit to touch on the accommodation. So King's, even though we are in central London, we have our own halls of residence. So you will be able to choose your rooms depending on if you're holding an offer or not. All of the residents at King's are single occupancy, means you get your own room. So there are no shared rooms. But it's non-catered. That means you have to prepare your own meals. We also have allocation at the intercollegiate halls. These are where the University of London colleges all as a joint facility. So will probably share rooms with students from other University of London like UCL or LSC or Birkbeck or Queen Mary. So there will be a few different universities all together in intercollegiate halls. At King's, we have our own exclusive halls for master's students. So these are exclusive lodgings, accommodation for those who are pursuing the master's program. And the prices vary based on the type of room that you will be using. So we have very basic rooms, very standard rooms, or you can go up to like a one bedroom flat or even a studio apartment. So the price will vary depending on the type and layout of the room. We also have a King's Affordable Accommodation Scheme where you are able to get a discount for your accommodation. And this is if you fit all the criteria, so you can apply when you're making your booking for the accommodation. So applying to King's, like I said earlier, King's is a high ranked Russell Group University, and therefore we do get a lot of applications from across the world. Last year, we received almost 55,000 applications for master's program and almost 60,000 applications for the undergraduate or bachelor's programs. And out of those numbers, 50% of the applications are meant for very popular programs like business, law, biosciences, psychology, digital marketing, international relations, and the top three of the most popular program, the very competitive program, is business, medicine or health sciences, and law. So if you're thinking of applying to one of three of these programs or one of the 50 the very most popular program that makes up 50% of our applications, you have to make sure that you meet the entry requirements and that you submit a really good application that covers and meets all of the conditions for the program. So what do we look for when we look at applications that are coming to King's? Definitely the entry requirements. So it is very strict. You have to follow the entry requirements that we put on our subject listing. We also look at your academic record, so not just the program or the qualification that you're currently studying, but also what you studied before that. So we would like to see that you have got quite a good record in terms of meeting your grades. For those applying for bachelor's programs, we really need to look at your teacher reference. For the master's students, we definitely will need reference from your academics, so people, the lecturers who have taught you while you were studying your undergraduate program or your bachelor's degrees. There are certain aptitude and tests for the bachelor's programs, but there are no tests or any kind of entrance tests for the master's applications. We definitely would encourage students to write about their work experience or maybe your internships, or if you did any kind of job shadows, because that would make it more interesting, because we are very strict with the entry requirements, and therefore if you have something that is different, that is, you know, that is out of ordinary, it'll be good to include that in your application. And finally, the personal statement. So if you're applying for the undergraduate program or even the master's, you're required to write a personal statement. So this is a statement of purpose, or a letter describing who you are as an individual, why you want to study a particular program, and also give us all the information about yourself and why do you want to pursue a particular course. So I'm just going to share with you the master's entry requirement here. So if you're interested in applying to King's, the application is actually um, online. So you apply directly to King's, and then for your entry requirements, we'll have to look at the little table that I have here. So what we're asking in terms of what you should be getting if you're an Indonesia graduate, and the kind of GPA that you should be meeting. For the meeting the English language, we normally accept the IELTS test or even the TOEFL test. So at this point of time, there are online versions of the test that we would accept as well. And other requirements, depending on what you're applying for, we'll definitely need 2 academic references and also that personal statement. And finally, the personal statement. So just touching on the personal statement a little bit, um, for most programs or for all of the courses, you're expected to write a composition that's about 4,000 characters long. So it has a good introduction and good conclusion, and it should cover like why you're applying for this particular course, you know, what are you studying right now and what you hope to achieve. Also, your extracurricular activities, what you're interested in, those are all really important to include in the personal statement, and why you chose the particular course. Is there anything that is you know, unique to your skills and your talents that you can also include in the personal statement? Work placements that you've done or work experiences is also very important. Any awards or anything that you've achieved, that is also good for you to have. And then finally, what you need to also include is perhaps an idea of what you want to do, like a career or an industry that you want to go in after you finish or after you graduate. So these are all the important factors that we would like to see in the personal statement, which is also part of the application. So some key dates here for you to take note of: that our application cycle usually starts between September and October. If you apply in October, you start getting offers from King's around November. But if you apply, keep applying, then we'll start sending out offers as and when the applications come in. Final deadline for all the master's applications are at 31st of March, and after that it will be usually we might open it up again until the 31st of July, but it depends if whether there are places available. And the other deadline that you should keep in mind is the accommodation deadline, which is usually at the end of June. But do check the King's course listing for specific dates and deadlines, but sometimes certain programs might have different deadlines. This is my contact details. So I'm available through email. You can email me at malaysia@kcl.ac.uk. And I've also highlighted 2 events that are coming up. So King's runs a lot of subject talks and masterclasses on our online for all students. And we also have this week a postgraduate or a master's open week. So there will be lots of subject talks about different programs. There will be opportunity to speak to academics and also to current students. So that's happening this week. If you have your mobile phones, you can scan your QR code and you'll be able to link to the information on our website. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope to be able to answer any questions that you might have at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much for the impressive presentation about King's College London. Up until now, there's about 100 students from Indonesia. I hope that many of the viewers today will be having the chance to study there. Okay, let's go to the Q&A section. So if you have any questions, you can just shoot it on the comment sections. I'll be reading them. Okay, the first one. Uh, Out of almost 100,000 applicants, how to make our application stand out? Do you have any tips?
Right. So, like I explained earlier on, depending on what you're applying for. So, if you're applying for, let's say, a master's program, then of course you're kind of fighting against about 60,000 applications. We do list down on our course listing what we are looking for in the application. So, other than the entry requirements, there we will also include the kind of individual that we're looking for, your background, so also your education background as well as possibly your work background. So certain programs, they might require you to have some work experience, and therefore this is where you can stand out by writing and including that information in your personal statement about the probably the different experiences that you've acquired over the years through your different roles or jobs that you've had, and also maybe through extracurricular activity. So if you have been able to do certain extracurricular activities that are linked to the course that you're applying for, that help you shows your skills and your talents like leadership skills or maybe communication skills. So those are all important that you should add in the personal statement, because that's the only document that we're going to read to decide if you are a good candidate for that course or not. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to the next one. Hello, I'm from Indonesia. I want to ask, should I enclose my IELTS test result along with my application? Because of this pandemic situation, many IELTS test center in here in Indonesia are now closed.
You don't need to submit your IELTS first. You can submit all your other documents, and you can submit your IELTS test results maybe later on when the IELTS centers are open. I I think some of the centers are open, but they might be operating on a different booking schedule. So as soon as you can get your booking in, that will be preferable. But you can apply without the IELTS first. So what happens is we will look at all your other qualifications and make a decision based on that. So it could be a conditional offer, and the condition might be meeting the English language, and we would usually give you a deadline, which is at the end of August. So you would have some time to prepare for the IELTS test if that is the condition. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So related to the IELTS, what's the average IELTS score for the minimum to enter the King's College?
Right. So it depends on the course that you're applying for. So different courses have got different minimum IELTS requirement. I would say the average or the majority of the programs are asking for a 7.0 overall and a 6.5 for every component. But there are programs that I might ask for a 6.5, and I don't think we have any that ask for a 6.0. So probably the minimum will be a 6.5, but you'll have to check the individual course listing to find out what the IELTS requirement are, because it varies from program to program. Okay.
Okay, so it's best for us to prepare at least 7.0, I guess. Okay,
Yes.
let's go to the next question. Hello, I would like to ask in KCL in the majors of undergraduate and master degree should it be related to the bachelor?
Not necessary, but again, this goes back to the subject or the course that you're applying for. Certain programs might, require that you have similar knowledge from your undergraduate program, but certain programs may not. So, for example, if you're coming from a bioscience degree and maybe you want to study business or management, that is possible, because it's understandable that you want to now focus on something else as part of your career or upskilling yourself. But if it's a very professional course that is directly leading towards an upgrade within your own career, so for example, you want to study the Masters of Law, you definitely need to have a Bachelor's of Law or related degree. All right. So this is, we'll go back to the course that you want to apply for. So you have to check out the course listing and read about the requirements. Okay.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Does King College University open for PhD program?
Yes, we are. And for PhD, it's a little bit tricky because what we want to see is a draft proposal. So the first step you need to do is find a supervisor. So on our website, there is a section for research. So if you look under the research portal, you'll be able to find contacts of potential PhD supervisors. So you can actually search using keynotes, maybe using the key subject that you want to do your research in, and then try and get in touch with one of those academics who are PhD supervisors. And then you need to give them information about your proposal. And obviously, they will want to know about your background. So your academic CV or maybe even your work CV will be useful. So we definitely do run PhD programs, but they are not mostly advertised on our website because naturally a lot of people want to do their own research. So if you try and search for PhD subjects, there are limited programs that are available that you can apply directly to. But if you want to do your own research, you have your own title, research title, then you'll have to get in touch with a potential supervisor, and you can do that by checking the PhD link on our website. All right, thank you.
Okay, we still have many questions. So the
I'm
next one,
sure we do.
yeah, the next one, I want to ask about the funding. If I want to apply for scholarship in case I'm already receiving the LOA, letter of acceptance from the campus, can I postpone my study until I'm receiving the scholarship?
If you're receiving scholarship from King's, or was the question about receiving scholarship from Indonesia? Okay, I'm not too sure which scholarship you're referring to, but if you're applying for scholarship, it is understandable that you would be studying for that year. So we don't defer the scholarship award. So if you have been successful in your scholarship application and you are going to get a scholarship, you will have to study in the year that the scholarship is granted. We can't defer the scholarship to another year. So whichever the year that you applied for, that's the year that you will be expected to receive the scholarship and also continue your studies.
Okay, and is there any info? Maybe you can re-show to the participants of the scholarship program. Can you please go back to the?
I'm gonna try and share. Do I share with everyone, or do
Yes,
I
it
share
will
with
be.
everyone in the
It will be
meeting?
shared.
Yeah.
It will be
So
shared in the
I'm
YouTube.
just going to share a document that will have all the links that I had earlier on the screen. So hopefully this is you can open it. So yes, I've shared that on the chat box. So there's a document there that has all the links to all of our brochures as well as to the scholarship and also information about the programs or the virtual events that are taking place this week that will be helpful for you to attend.
Okay, unfortunately, our watchers are on YouTube and they cannot really
Ah, I
see
see.
it. Can you please just just show the
For
slide?
the scholarship, right?
Yes, the scholarship. They are so eager to know that.
Okay, just maybe we can move on to the next question while I copy and paste that too.
Okay. Uh, the next question would be, what's the biggest challenge as a student in Kings?
The biggest challenge. I guess you have to look at it from an international point of view. So for an international student, the number one challenge is usually trying to adapt to the different styles of teaching and also the language. So even though you may be well versed in English, sometimes the way the English is spoken and the way the lecturers and academic present could be completely different, and sometimes it may be hard to actually follow what is being taught or the way the English is spoken. So I think that's the number one challenge for most of the students. yeah, I just leave it at that at this point in time. Obviously, there's lots of challenges, but I would say that this is usually the number one challenge that is faced by a lot of the students that come from Southeast Asia, and especially if your English is not very good.
All
Okay.
right. The next one. Hello, is there any transfer program from associate to bachelor degree in Kings for architecture or related studies with fully funded scholarship?
So, unfortunately, at King's, we very rarely accept transfers. If there are, the transfer programs are usually for the bachelor's degrees, and they are normally in some of the technical programs, but it's not guaranteed because we also have to look at the entry requirements. But I say generally, I don't think that opportunity is available at King's to transfer from an associate degree. And if I heard correctly, I think you're asking about architecture. Unfortunately, King's doesn't have a faculty of built environment, so we don't offer architecture.
Okay. The next question. Is there business analytics course or subject in postgraduate program?
Sorry, can you repeat that question?
Is there any business analytics course or subject in postgraduate program?
Business analytics comes as part of well, it's mostly finance analytics. So it's part of a master's program for finance. And there's also modules of analytics that are included in our international management course, as well as our economics and finance program at the master's level. So there are actually modules and not a specific title of a course.
Okay. The next question. Would the students be able to do a part-time job there?
Yes, as a student who is studying overseas in the UK, if you're coming under the student visa route, you will definitely be able to work part time during term, so while you're studying, and you can work full time during the school holidays. So, this is something that you are entitled to under your student visa.
Okay. The next one. Is there any limitation for the time of work or stuff like that?
20 hours a week during term, so while you're studying, and 40 hours a week during the holidays or the breaks.
Okay. I think this is the last question, but if you still have any, you can just type it on the comment section. Will we receive, will the student be studying for 1 year or 2 years
Okay,
for
so
the
either
master?
for masters, it's all 1 year. For
Oh,
PhD, it'll be 3 years.
okay. Uh, mm, the last, okay, this is the last one. Will we receive 1 or 2 years working permit visa after graduate from King's?
So currently, according to the new UK immigration rules, you are supposed to get 2 years. So it should be almost an automatic change from student to post-work study visa. But this is something that will be, for us to keep an eye on because it hasn't started yet. So it's expected to start from next year onwards. And then obviously, if there's any updates, that you'll be able to actually look at the UK government website. There'll be updates on the UK government website. So it is actually 2 years, but I can't really say if that is the final deal at the end of the day. So it's something for you to, something for everyone to watch out if there's any updates or any policy changes from the UK coming up in the next 6 months or so.
Okay. Before closing this one, can you tell us one fun fact about Kings that not many people know?
Or one fun fact that not many people know. Um, we have our own museum. It's called the Gordon Museum of Pathology. So inside the museum are specimens of human body parts like baby fetus or a particular organ that dates back to about the 1700s. So there are lots of articles, scientific articles that are on display. It is not open to everyone, but it will be open to all students. So if you're very interested and very curious to know about the museum, then do try and apply to King's and have the opportunity to visit the museum and get to find lots of other interesting facts about King's.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Franz Dawson from King's College London. I
You're
hope we can
welcome.
meet again later on. All right.
Okay, thank you everyone. Have a great day ahead. Stay safe.
That's the end of our Q&A session, and see you on the next session.